The early morning at the Wildlife Conservation Center began like any other. The air was quiet, the staff moved calmly through their routines, and the gorilla enclosure was peaceful. Everyone knew that Kalu, the female gorilla, was close to giving birth. Her pregnancy had been carefully monitored for months, and veterinarians were on standby. Still, no one expected what they were about to witness that day. Kalu was a calm and intelligent gorilla, known for her gentle nature and strong bond with her caretakers. She had given birth once before, so the team believed this delivery would be fairly routine. As the sun rose, Kalu retreated to a quiet corner of her enclosure, signaling that the moment was near. The staff watched from a safe distance, cameras ready, hearts pounding with anticipation. After hours of quiet tension, it happened. Kalu gave birth naturally, without complications. At first, everything seemed normal. The newborn lay close to her, tiny and fragile, and Kalu immediately pulled the baby to her chest. The staff smiled with relief, thinking the delivery had gone perfectly. But then, one of the veterinarians froze. Something wasn't right. As the newborn shifted slightly, the staff noticed something incredibly unusual. The baby gorilla's appearance was different, very different. Its fur was strikingly light, almost silver white, instead of the deep black typical of newborn gorillas. For a moment, no one spoke. The observation room fell into stunned silence. The realization hit all at once. Kalu had given birth to an extremely rare albino gorilla. Albino gorillas are almost unheard of. In fact, only a handful have ever been documented in history. Albinism is a genetic condition that affects pigmentation, resulting in pale skin, light fur, and often sensitive eyes. Seeing this in a gorilla, especially one born in a protected environment, was astonishing. The staff quickly shifted from shock to action. Veterinarians carefully assessed the newborn from afar, making sure not to stress Kalu or the baby. Albinism can sometimes come with health challenges, including vision problems and sensitivity to light. The team knew they had to be extra cautious. Kalu, however, showed no sign of concern. She cradled her baby protectively, grooming it gently and keeping it close. Her maternal instincts were strong and unwavering. To her, this was not a rare or different baby, it was simply her child. News of the birth spread rapidly through the conservation center. Staff members from other departments gathered quietly, watching through observation windows. Many had worked with gorillas for decades and had never seen anything like this. Some were visibly emotional, realizing they were witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime event. As hours passed, the baby began to move more, clinging to Kalu's chest. Despite its unusual appearance, it appeared strong and healthy. Its grip was firm, its breathing steady. This brought immense relief to the team, who had been bracing for potential complications. Within a day, the Conservation Center made the careful decision to document the birth for scientific records. This was not just a rare moment, it was a valuable opportunity to learn more about albinism in great apes. Researchers hoped that studying this case could help improve understanding and care for albino animals in the wild and in captivity. However, with excitement came concern. Albino animals face unique challenges, especially in the wild. Their light coloring makes them more visible to predators, and they often struggle with sunlight sensitivity. While this baby was born in a protected environment, the staff knew long-term care would require special planning. Extra shaded areas were added to the enclosure. Lighting was adjusted to reduce glare. Regular eye checks were scheduled. Every detail mattered now. The goal was not just survival, but a full, healthy life. As days turned into weeks, the baby continued to thrive. Its fur remained pale, creating a striking contrast against Kalu's dark coat. Visitors who were later allowed to see the pair were left speechless. Many had never even heard of an albino gorilla, let alone seen one. Social media buzzed with excitement when the center finally released the news. Videos of Kalu gently holding her rare offspring quickly went viral. Comments poured in from around the world, expressions of awe, curiosity, and admiration filled the screens. People called it a miracle, a wonder of nature, a reminder of how unpredictable and beautiful life can be. But the staff remained grounded. They knew that with attention often comes risk. Too much exposure, too much stress, or careless curiosity could be harmful. The baby's privacy became a priority. Viewing times were limited, and strict rules were enforced to keep the environment calm. Interestingly, the other gorillas in the group reacted with curiosity but not rejection. After cautious observation, they accepted the baby as part of the family. This was a powerful reminder that animals often respond to differences with far more simplicity than humans do. Kulu proved to be an exceptional mother. She was attentive, patient, and fiercely protective. She positioned herself strategically to shield her baby from bright light and noise. The bond between them grew stronger each day, a quiet yet powerful connection that spoke volumes without words. Veterinarians continued regular health checks and were amazed by the baby's progress. While albinism can sometimes bring complications, this young gorilla showed resilience. Its growth milestones were on track, and its behavior was playful and curious. For the conservation center, this birth became more than a headline. It became a symbol of why conservation matters. In a world where habitats are shrinking and species are under constant threat, every birth is important. But a birth like this, so rare, so unexpected, highlights the fragile diversity of life on our planet. It reminds us that nature still holds mysteries we don't fully understand. The staff often reflected on that quiet morning when everything changed. What began as a routine birth turned into a historic event. Many admitted that it rekindled their passion for their work. Moments like these are why they dedicate their lives to animal care and protection. As the baby gorilla continues to grow, its future remains bright, though carefully managed. The Conservation Center plans to ensure it has a life filled with enrichment, safety, and social interaction. Whether it becomes a symbol for scientific research, conservation education, or simply a living reminder of nature's unpredictability, one thing is certain, it has already left an unforgettable mark. Sometimes, the rarest miracles happen when we least expect them. And on that quiet morning, inside a gorilla enclosure, the world was reminded once again just how extraordinary life can be. As the weeks passed, the Conservation Center slowly adjusted to its new reality. What had once been a calm, predictable routine was now filled with heightened awareness and responsibility. Every movement of Kulu and her rare baby was observed with care, not out of curiosity alone, but out of duty. The staff understood that this young gorilla represented something far bigger than a single birth. It was a living reminder of how fragile and astonishing nature could be. The baby's name became a topic of long discussion. Caretakers believed that a name carried meaning and energy, especially for an animal destined to stand out from the rest. After days of quiet, observation and reflection, the team chose a name that symbolized light and hope. The name fit perfectly, reflecting the baby's pale appearance and the sense of wonder it had brought into the world. Kulu responded beautifully to motherhood. She was more attentive than ever, rarely letting her baby stray far from her chest. When she moved around the enclosure, she did so carefully, almost deliberately, as if she knew her child needed extra protection. Observers noticed how she adjusted her position whenever sunlight grew too strong, instinctively shielding the baby with her own body. This behavior fascinated researchers. It raised questions about animal awareness and maternal intuition. Did Kulu understand that her baby was different? Or was she simply responding to subtle cues, sensitivity to light, changes in movement, softer vocalizations? Whatever the reason, her actions showed an extraordinary level of care. The veterinary team began conducting routine health assessments using non-invasive methods. From a distance, they monitored the baby's eye movements, muscle development, and responses to sound. Albino animals often have vision challenges, but early signs were encouraging. The baby tracked movement, responded to Kulu's calls, and showed curiosity about its surroundings. Still, the staff remained cautious. Albinism can bring delayed complications, and long-term planning was essential. Special nutritional adjustments were made for Kulu to ensure her milk provided optimal support. Supplements rich in essential vitamins were carefully introduced, always with Kulu's comfort as the top priority. As months passed, the baby began to explore more. At first, it clung tightly to its mother, but gradually it showed signs of independence. Small hands reached out to touch the ground, leaves, and enrichment objects placed by caretakers. Each tiny step away from Kulu was met with watchful eyes and held breaths. One afternoon, something remarkable happened. The baby attempted its first short climb, gripping a low structure designed for young gorillas. It slipped almost immediately, but Kulu was there in an instant, pulling the baby back to safety. The staff erupted in quiet smiles. This was a milestone, proof that the baby's strength and coordination were developing normally. The presence of the albino gorilla also sparked renewed interest in conservation education. The center began preparing educational materials focused on genetic diversity, rare conditions, and the importance of protected environments. The goal was not to sensationalize the baby, but to use its story to inspire understanding and respect for wildlife. Schools, researchers, and conservationists from around the world reached out, eager to learn more. The center was selective about collaborations, prioritizing ethical research and animal welfare above all else. This wasn't about fame, it was about responsibility. Interestingly, the baby's unique appearance had another unexpected effect. Visitors who were eventually allowed limited viewing often reacted emotionally. Some stood silently, others wiped away tears. Many said the sight made them reflect on difference, vulnerability, and acceptance. The baby gorilla became a quiet teacher, communicating powerful lessons without saying a word. Within the gorilla group, social bonds continued to strengthen. Older females showed gentle curiosity, occasionally approaching Kulu and her baby with soft gestures. Younger gorillas watched from a distance, learning through observation. There was no aggression, no rejection, only cautious acceptance. This behavior challenged long-held assumptions about how animals respond to visible differences. It reinforced the idea that fear and discrimination are often learned behaviors, not natural ones. As the baby grew, its personality began to shine. It was playful, alert, and surprisingly bold. Despite its sensitivity, it showed confidence when exploring shaded areas of the enclosure. It loved textured objects, especially soft leaves and wooden toys designed for tactile enrichment. The caretakers noticed something else too. The baby had a strong bond not only with Kulu but with its environment. It listened intently to sounds, tilting its head when birds flew overhead or when distant thunder rumbled. This heightened awareness suggested that while its vision might be sensitive, its other senses were keenly tuned. Of course, challenges remained. On particularly bright days, the baby showed signs of discomfort, squinting and retreating closer to its mother. In response, the enclosure was further modified with natural shade, climbing platforms covered with foliage, and darker resting zones. Every adjustment was made with long-term comfort in mind. Behind the scenes, the staff often spoke about the emotional impact of this journey. Many admitted that caring for this baby had changed them. It reminded them why they chose this line of work, not for routine success, but for moments that test compassion, patience, and dedication. The Conservation Center also took a firm stance against exploitation. Requests from media outlets poured in, some respectful, others clearly seeking spectacle. The administration declined anything that could disturb the gorillas or reduce the baby to a curiosity. Protection came before publicity, always. As the first year approached, the baby reached another major milestone, social play. It began interacting more actively with other young gorillas, chasing gently, mimicking movements, and learning boundaries. These interactions were closely supervised, but they unfolded naturally, without incident. This progress was a relief. Social integration is critical for gorillas, and the baby's ability to form bonds meant it could enjoy a full, enriched life within its group. The staff celebrated quietly, knowing that every small success mattered. The story of Kulu and her rare offspring continued to resonate far beyond the center's walls. It became a symbol of hope in a world often filled with loss. At a time when news was dominated by extinction and environmental destruction, this story offered something different, a reminder that life can still surprise us. Looking back, the staff often recalled the moment of shock when they first noticed the baby's pale fur. What began as surprise had evolved into respect, responsibility, and deep admiration. This gorilla was not defined by rarity alone, but by resilience, care, and connection. The future, while uncertain, looked promising. With continued protection, research, and compassion, the baby had every chance to thrive. Its life would not be easy, but it would be meaningful. And perhaps that was the greatest lesson of all. Nature doesn't aim for perfection. It creates diversity. Sometimes, that diversity appears in ways that stop us in our tracks, forcing us to pay attention. In those moments, we are reminded that every life, no matter how rare or different, has value. In a quiet enclosure, under carefully filtered sunlight, a pale-furred baby gorilla clung to its mother, unaware of the impact it had already made on the world. And maybe that was the most beautiful part of the story.